The $5 footlong is remembered as a marketing masterpiece, a viral jingle that saved America during the 2008 recession. But that story is a lie. It wasn't a success story. It was a ticking time bomb, one built on the desperation of thousands of store owners. While Subway corporate cashed in on billions in royalties, their own franchisees were being driven into bankruptcy. This isn't the story of a brilliant promotion. This is the story of a civil war that tore the Subway empire apart from the inside. But before we unpack the world's most disastrous promotion, let's talk about one that actually works. One thing that separates successful restaurants from struggling ones is how they reward repeat customers. Most small businesses spend thousands chasing new customers, but they completely ignore the ones they already have. That's why this video is sponsored by Up Menu. It's the easiest way to build your own restaurant loyalty program and automate repeat sales. Thousands of restaurants already use it to boost repeat orders and track loyalty automatically. You'll keep customers coming back without needing to discount your menu into oblivion. Up Menu lets you customize rewards, track points, and automate marketing, all from one dashboard. Try it using the link in the description and see how effortless loyalty can be. Now let's see how Subway did the exact opposite. Subway's story starts in 1965. Co-founder Fred DeLuca, a college kid, gets a $1,000 loan from Peter Buck. Their goal? Sell sandwiches. Their model? Expansion. And that model was built on a critical flaw. Subway didn't just sell sandwiches. It sold a franchise system. And that system was one of the most punishing in the industry. The fee to join was low, making the American dream seem accessible. But the contract was brutal. Franchisees had to pay 12.5% of their gross sales back to corporate every single week, 8% as a royalty, 4.5% for an advertising fund. Notice the word gross, not profit. Whether a franchisee made money or lost money, Subway corporate got its 12.5%. This single detail created a system where corporate was incentivized to drive sales, not profit. It was a machine built to extract wealth from its operators, and it needed a new fuel source. The idea didn't come from a high-paid marketing firm. It came from a desperate franchisee. In 2003, Stuart Frankel, a Miami store owner, was watching his weekend sales flatline. He had a simple idea: make every footlong $5. The results were explosive. His sales jumped over 60%. All of a sudden, he said, customers who pay $3 for a 6-inch were paying $5 for a footlong. Traffic went up, sales went up, profits went up. He meticulously documented his success and sent it to corporate. They ignored him. For years, he and other Miami owners pleaded with headquarters. Frankel later said, "To be frank, they thought I was a fucking idiot." Corporate was skeptical that a $5 footlong could ever make money. They were right. But soon, they wouldn't care. Then, 2008 happened. The economy imploded. Consumers were broke. And Subway's decade-old Jared Fogle ad campaign was getting stale. Corporate was desperate. They needed a new, powerful, value-driven message. Suddenly, Stuart Frankel's idiotic idea looked like a lifeline. Subway piloted it, and in March 2008, it launched nationally. The timing was, in a word, perfect. It was 2008. The global financial crisis had plunged America into a deep recession. Consumers were terrified, wallets were snapping shut, and every dollar counted. Into this climate of fear, Subway offered not just a meal, but a feast for a single $5 bill. Then, the jingle hit. $5 footlong. Created by the MMB agency in Boston, it was hailed as sheer campy genius. The song was intentionally simple, almost childishly so. The ad men said, "We didn't want any blabbing. Let's see how many times we can say $5 footlong." It was an insidious earworm, a piece of audio brute force that drilled itself into the public consciousness. But the jingle had a secret. Its composer, Jimmy Harned, later admitted the chord progression was intentionally dark. It moved to a weird, metally place, an unsettling, almost menacing sound that was an unintentional foreshadowing of the disaster to come. The results were staggering. In its first year alone, the promotion generated $3.8 billion in sales. While other restaurants were collapsing under the weight of the recession, Subway's US sales jumped an incredible 17%. Franchisees saw a 25% spike in traffic, a lifeline in a dying economy. It seemed like a win-win. The perfect deal at the perfect time. Subway's CMO, Tony Pace, was lauded as a hero, the architect of an unprecedented success. When asked in a 2009 interview about an exit strategy for the promotion, he scoffed at the very idea. If you had a brand that represented nearly $4 in sales, would you plan an exit strategy for it? With that, the decision was made. The $5 footlong wasn't a promotion anymore. It was permanent, and the bomb was now armed. So, why was this a disaster? The answer lies in a simple, brutal piece of math that turned Subway's greatest success into a ticking time bomb for its own operators. It all came down to that 12.5% fee. Corporate got their money from the top, a guaranteed percentage of every dollar that came in. Franchisees had to pay for everything else, food, labor, rent, from the bottom, and the bottom was falling out. The 2008 recession didn't just bring in broke customers. It caused a global food price crisis. Between 2006 and 2008, wheat prices rose 136%, corn rose 125%, and prices kept climbing relentlessly. By 2012, beef prices were up over 34% from 2008. But Subway's price was locked. It was still $5. A marketing triumph, but an operational nightmare. Let's look at the math from the franchisee's perspective around 2018. One $5 turkey sub. Food costs, the actual ingredients, were now $2. Labor, ABD 7 subs, HR, another $2. Corporate royalty, 8%, 0.40. Ad fee, 4.5%, 0.23. Rent, utilities, fees, 0.54. Total cost to franchisee, $5.17. They were losing 17 cents on their best-selling item, and that was for cheap turkey. On a roast beef sub, the loss was closer to $1. The promotion wasn't a thin margin, it was a negative margin. Franchisees were paying, out of their own pockets, for the privilege of Subway's marketing success. They were subsidizing the brand's most famous deal, and the insults just kept coming. In 2013, a viral photo of an 11-inch sub sparked the footlong lawsuit. The brand was hit with a class action suit, not for its price, but for its length. Customers felt cheated. Subway's defense: they argued the footlong was just a descriptive name, not a measurement. A branding term, not a promise of 12 inches. They were selling a brand, not a sandwich. And the franchisees were paying the price for that brand, in cash, every single day. You can only push people so far. For years, Subway's franchisees had absorbed rising food costs and razor-thin margins. But the pressure was reaching a breaking point. By 2016, the cracks were impossible to ignore. For the first time in its history, Subway began shrinking, closing more stores than it opened. The brand was in a 25% freefall in customer traffic, a catastrophic loss of its once loyal base. So what did corporate do? Instead of innovating, they reached for the only tool they knew. In 2017, they tried to bring the $5 footlong back. The franchisees snapped. Over 400 store owners signed a petition, begging corporate not to do it. Their letter stated the promotion had decimated us and left many franchisees unprofitable and even insolvent. Subway corporate ignored them. The pleas fell on deaf ears. The civil war was now open. In 2020, corporate tried again with a 2 for $10 deal, another deep discount that owners simply couldn't afford. The Franchisee Association, NAASF, found 75% of its members were opposed. One operator told reporters the system was ready to explode. Some franchisees were so desperate, they filed formal complaints with the Federal Trade Commission. They alleged they were being bullied into honoring a deal that was bankrupting them, a deal they never agreed to. In 2021, the fight escalated. Over 100 franchisees wrote an open letter to Subway's co-owner, Elizabeth DeLuca, the widow of founder Fred DeLuca. Their words were a eulogy for their own businesses. Sadly for many of us, this dream has turned into a nightmare. They were broke and frustrated and felt utterly betrayed by the very brand they had helped build. The family was broken, but could it be fixed? This is what that nightmare looks like. From its peak in 2015, the Subway empire began to collapse. In less than a decade, over 7,600 US stores vanished. That is a 28% contraction. The $5 jingle had become a ghost that haunts the brand. It permanently anchored the reference price of a footlong in the minds of consumers. When inflation forced prices to $7, $8, or $10, customers felt ripped off. They were judging today's prices against a decade-old marketing gimmick. The $5 footlong wasn't a promotion. It was a trap. It revealed the fundamental flaw in Subway's model, a system that prioritized corporate royalties over franchisee survival. The ticking time bomb wasn't the $5 price. It was the 12.5% fee that set the fuse, and in the end, it was the franchisees who paid for the explosion. So, if today's lesson taught us anything, it's that a business that doesn't control its own customer relationships is a business that's out of control. Subway's franchisees were trapped. They had no tools to build their own loyalty or manage their own promotions. That's where UpMenu comes in. It helps you set up automated loyalty, online ordering, and retention campaigns in minutes. It's trusted by hundreds of restaurants and coffee shops to grow repeat revenue effortlessly. With one setup, you'll never lose another customer after their first visit. You get the data. You own the relationship. Click the link in the description to start building your loyalty system today. Don't get trapped. Take control.